Hey neighbor, I said I was going to share my dill pickle recipe. I started making it and hadn't even started recording, so I'm trying to catch up real quick. In my saucepan for your brine for your pickles, I have 3 tablespoons of our pickling spice. I have a half a cup of salt. Remember, we're using our pickling salt or our kosher salt. I have 3/4 cups of sugar, and I also have 6 teaspoons of dried dill. And to that, I'm going to add a quart. So we're just going to use our quart jar, a quart of our 5% white vinegar, and then we're going to add a quart of water. Okay, so another quart, same jar with water, and we're going to bring that to a simmer. That's the brine for our dill pickles. Okay, so your brine is on simmer. So how do we get to crunchy pickle stage? Okay, 2 ways. So one of the ways that I have been telling you about recently is liming our pickles. So 24 hours in advance of you making your pickles, you're going to soak your pickles in a solution of lime and water, pickling lime. Then you're going to go through the process of deliming them by rinsing them for 3 times over an hour in between. So when they come off the lime after 24 hours, I'm going to rinse it. I'm going to let it sit in cold water for an hour. I'm going to rinse it. I'm going to let it sit in cold water for an hour. I'm going to rinse it. I'm going to let it sit in cold water for 3 hours to make sure all of our lime is out of our cucumbers. For me, that has been the crispiest, best crunching pickle is to do the lime. But you can also use pickle crisp, and it looks like this, little granules. And this is calcium chloride pickles crisp without having to do all the rinsing steps. These just go in the bottom of your pickle jar as you're pickling. And now we're just going to pack our cucumbers in our jars. Now, you have to be a little more careful when you lime them because they can be brittle, and you want to, keep your spears in all whole. So it's a little slower process so that we don't break our pickles. Side note, in the beginning when I gave you the brine recipe, you can put your pickling spices in cheesecloth. If it bothers you to see the loose herbs and all floating around on your pickles, then you'll probably use your cheesecloth to separate your spices and just use them during the boiling process. Also, if you're like really fond of dill, you want to go ahead and put your fresh sprigs in your jars too so you can really, turn up the dill flavor. I'm not really a dill fan. I like it, but not too much. So put dill in your jar too. So now I'm just going to fill these up, place them in the brine. I'm going to process them in the water bath canner for about 15 minutes, and it's good to go. So yes, you can use this brine for other vegetables. It's not just set to cucumbers. Yes, you can also make this brine for refrigerator pickles where you're not processing them for storage. You're just going to cover them in the brine and put them in your refrigerator for a couple of days and eat them that way too. Okay? So this is how I do dill pickles. I hope you give it a try and enjoy it. Let's out, see.